Welcome to Career Journeys, a series of videos by the Consortium for Public Education. Here we explore the career experiences and pathways of professionals from a wide variety of careers to help you think about the skills you'll need and the paths you might take after high school.
Hi, I'm Debbie Pixton with the Consortium for Public Education. Today I'm interviewing Zaheen Hussain, the Director of Sustainability at New Sun Rising. Thank you so much for joining us, Zaheen.
Thank you for having me.
Zaheen, tell me about New Sun Rising and your role there. What do you do as the Director of Sustainability?
We believe in helping people create vibrant communities through opportunities in culture, sustainability, and opportunity. I'm the Director of Sustainability. A lot of my work is focused environmentally. Specifically on the sustainability front, a lot of my work is focused on supporting the Millville Eco District, which we can get into later, but also thinking through how communities can really develop economic development protocols that are centered around sustainability so that as communities grow, people aren't just thinking about profit, but people are really thinking about what we in sustainability call the triple bottom line of people, planet, and profit.
Zaheen, tell me a little bit about your roots. How did you first get introduced to sustainability? Where did that passion start?
When I was 3 years old, in my home country of Bangladesh, which is where I'm from, and I immigrated from when I was 8 years old. When I was 3, there was a hurricane that took place, and in Bangladesh they're called cyclones, that killed 130,000 people, and most of the people that were killed were women and children. And the reason being is that being at home, not having as much education, a lot of women and children and elderly folks as well just never received the warnings needed to be able to seek shelter and protect themselves from that storm. That was devastating. And it led to a lot of conversation in our country, especially around climate change and greenhouse gases and the greenhouse effect. So even though, the conversation around climate change is really starting to mature now in the United States, globally, the conversation's been happening for a really long time. And I remember being a little kid and hearing adults around me talking about the greenhouse effect and climate change and wondering, well, what is that? That really kind of set me on this path of curiosity around what the connectivity is between climate, environment, and quality of life for our communities. I know that that's a very sad story, but, a positive in that and something that shows what the power of cooperation and collaboration is that, 3 years later, we had a very similar storm hit the country again. And instead of having death tolls in the hundreds of thousands, we had a death toll in the hundreds, which is so much less. It really kind of goes back to the fact that, hey, what are ways that we can learn from what's happened in our past around the world, and what lessons can we take from them to move forward?
From your college experience, how did you get to where you are now?
It was a roundabout way for sure. Through college and a little bit after college, I worked for the Connecticut Department of Environmental Protection as a park ranger, doing endangered species conservation with shoreline birds, which essentially meant that I got to drive around in a truck, work at the beach every day, and help preserve ecosystems and habitats for 2 different bird species, piping plovers and least terns, which nest on the Connecticut beaches. I loved that work. I loved going to the beach every day and getting paid for it. But I knew that while I enjoyed it very much, that wasn't necessarily the brain space that I really wanted to live and work in. The policy and economic side of environmental issues is something that I had a natural inclination towards. So I started to look for internships around the country, and I found a set of internships through the Student Conservation Association here in Pittsburgh with a program called the Green City Sustainability Fellowship. I applied to a few different fellowships, and I was rejected by all of them. You know, but one thing that I did, and I'm really glad that I had the insight at that point in my life to do, is email the program officer back and ask, hey, what is it about my experience that made it so that I didn't qualify for these internships that seem like a really good fit and seem like the direction that I want to take my career? And to her credit, she responded. Not all of us are really good at responding to emails right away, but this is one where I really appreciated the response. And, she shared a number of different ways that I could make myself a stronger candidate, but then also pointed me towards another internship through a similar program in Pittsburgh that was also hiring at the time. And that time I applied and was fortunate and skilled in the ways that I needed to be to get picked. So I, about 8.5 years ago now, packed up all my stuff, drove from Connecticut to Pittsburgh, not knowing anyone or anything or ever having been here before, for what I thought was going to be a 10-month stay for a 10-month internship. And 8.5 years later, here I am talking to you.
What kind of questions should students ask themselves if they're considering a career in sustainability?
Well, one is, what is sustainability? Ask yourself that. Define it for yourself. Because, again, it can mean different things to different people. Again, for my career field, it definitely comes from an environmental perspective at its root. But then think about, well, what do you want your academic journey to look like? What do you want your professional journey to look like? You don't have to follow, one specific career path to find a job in this field. And you can be open-minded about it. One thing, I tend to work with teams through a renewable energy training program as well. And in that, we say, when you look at working for, if you're interested in sustainability and you look at a solar installation company, not every single job for that company is installing a solar panel, right? Not every single job in that company is being an engineer. Fully fledged industries like the renewable energy industry need marketing communications managers, accounting professionals, business managers, all sorts of different career or educational backgrounds are needed to be able to support these emerging industries. So, you can have a sense of responsibility around wanting to improve environmental conditions without necessarily needing to go out and get an environmental science degree to make an impact on that field. You can go out and study whatever you want to study, and then think creatively about how your skill sets translates to the needs of again, fully kind of emerging business sectors.
What's one piece of advice you would offer to students who are considering a career in sustainability or conservation, anything related to that?
Don't despair. In the environmental field, there tends to be some level of depression sometimes, because a lot of the information that we're given can seem like the world around us is a little hopeless, but that's definitely not true. The issues that we have in terms of having to mitigate and adapt to climate change are of a massive scale. but we all have to play a piece in being able to reverse the trends that we're in right now. And so again, think about how your specific skill sets, things that you naturally like, contribute to those kinds of goals. You don't have to do anything that you don't like. If you just do what you like and get really good at it, I promise you, you will find a job, you'll find a career, you'll find happiness. And happiness doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make $50 million a year. There's fulfillment in many other ways. And one of them is just, again, finding comfort in being good at what you're good at and being able to do that.
Zaheen, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your experiences and expertise with us.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
For more information or to learn about other careers in the Career Journey series, visit our website and check back soon for our next installment. Thanks!